What's up and welcome to the FemFit Chicks podcast. We're your hosts, Aurelia Michael Holmgren and Britt Inez. Here we talk all things health, wealth, womanhood, and of course, ownership. So sit back or stand up straight on that treadmill and enjoy today's episode.
Welcome back, you guys, to another episode of the FemFit Chicks podcast. I'm your host, Britt Inez, and today I am joined by Maggie Pearson, a very, very special guest that we are super excited to have on the show. We have been wanting her to come on here for this season, so we are going to dig into some really good stuff this episode. So, Maggie, do you want to just share a little bit about you, introduce yourself to our peeps out there?
Yeah, thanks for having me. This is so exciting. I live in sunny California now. I was born and raised in Washington State, and you and I have kind of built this friendship on social media across different states, which is really cool. Mm-hmm. I've been in fitness my whole life, nutrition my whole life, and just kind of been taking on that entrepreneurial cap and, got into some finance as well, a partnership liaison for a camp here in Southern California. So just kind of do a lot of different things. And I'm excited to, talk to your listeners today about how I can help them in any part of their life.
We are too. We are pumped to have you. And I couldn't think of a better guest to have this season because, as you know, we are all about helping women in all stages of their life. And I love what you do in terms of your holistic approach to health and wellness and fitness. That's speaking my love language right there. But also, too, you have this really deep knowledge and financial independence. And you have such a powerful story with what you've been able to do for yourself. And I know that we have some listeners out there that can just learn from you across so many different avenues. So I'm just going to ask you tons of questions today. So you guys are going to get some really good stuff from today. So can you start off by just sharing what made you decide to go down your path of focusing on like holistic health and wellness, and what started all of it for you? Because I feel like everyone always has a starting point, and you're so passionate about it too. And that's what I love. Yeah, it's so apparent.
Yeah. I know we don't have 2 hours, but I'll give the short version. So I've been an athlete my whole life. I've done sports my whole life. Been a personal trainer and nutrition coach for 15 plus years off and on. In 2018, I was having chronic knee pain, really bad. And I was a huge animal protein eater. I had done competitions in the past, and we all know about all the protein. I mean, egg whites and protein shakes. I mean, every 2 hours. And I went on a detox retreat to Bali. And at this time, I had the chronic knee pain. I was supposed to come home and have surgery on it. And there was a couple things going on with my knee. It was so bad. I couldn't even demo for my clients. I couldn't do a quad stretch. It was really bad. I go to Bali. I go to this detox, like nutrition, yoga retreat. Like if you've ever seen Eat, Pray, Love, it was kind of like that. And 3 days into the retreat, my knee pain was 100% gone. What? So this blew my mind. This was like, what the heck? Like I'm supposed to have surgery and my knee pain is 100% gone. So I was married at the time. I called my husband. I was like, I'm coming home plant-based. Like, I don't know what this looks like, but something rocked my world so much that like, if my knee pain could be healed by just the food I'm eating and I avoided surgery, what other positive things is this doing for my body?
Yeah.
Shortly after that, I got off all my anxiety medication, my ADD medication. Talk to your doctor first. I was down to a very low dose, but they were like, if you feel like you're ready to get rid of it. I mean, I was in such a peaceful place in Bali, threw all that away. And that was 2019. So I come home, all my clients are like, what do we do? And I'm like, I don't know, keep eating your chicken. Like, I got to figure this out first. I have no idea. Yeah. So I guinea pigged on some of my clients. I dove into detoxification down to a cell level. So there's lots of things out there like these juice cleanses and detox teas, and really to get it down to a cell level, it has to be for a period of time. And my clients, bless their heart, they were my guinea pigs, and we got rid of chronic shoulder pain, inflammation, pounds lost, all the things. So that was kind of the story of like how I started my detox business, and it's continued to evolve. And I mean, even more so now, I'm becoming a functional health coach where we really look at all the windows as like hormone specialist, gut health, your naturopath doctor you go to, and look at your body as a whole. So I work with a team with doctors and nurses on it as well, We do labs and Dutch tests and all that to be able to really dive in.
Wow. Okay. So there's so much there. Like, I know that had to feel like an entire new world opened up, really, for you to like wake up and realize that all these things are tied to what we eat. And I think as coaches, we know that, but to be able to experience it at that level. So one of the things that you said that really stood out to me was there's so many different types of detoxes. And I know when I hear detox, like I've heard everything from drinking that Instagram tea that people talk about, you know what I mean? Like the tea that makes you poop and do nothing else, to all the way to just only eating, only drinking juice, right? So what are some, and I know we don't have all day long, but what are some of like the biggest misconceptions around detoxing that you think we need to know about? Because it doesn't always get a good rap,
Yeah, I would say biggest misconception or question that I get is, am I going to have to eat plant-based the whole time? Am I going to have to eat vegan? And is it just going to be a bunch of juices? Which it's not. So I really customize it to people. It's hard for me not to customize it because everybody's different. I get plant-based people who come to me. I get carnivores that come to me. So I ease them in. If you're a carnivore coming to me and you're having like lots of aches and pains, joint problem, distension in your stomach, digestive issues, we're going to ease you into it. We're going to add some smoothies in. So we're going to add more smoothies in. We're going to add more fruits and vegetables in, getting that fiber in, moving our lymphatic system, which is our sewer system in our body, which pulls all the toxins. But then we're going to open up our kidneys so that they can come out. So we got to open up those kidneys because our kidney filters out everything, cleaning up our liver. Our liver filters hormones. So if there's hormone imbalance, a lot of the times it's your backed up liver. Our liver is a detox system in our body, but if it's overburdened by all the toxins that are all around us, the beauty products, the cleaning products, everything, I could go on forever. But so it's real food. Real food. We do add in some juices and smoothies, but no, you're not just drinking juices and you're not running to the bathroom. Yeah.
That was another one. I'm like, can I live my life? Or do I have to like plan to be home and like hunker down? Because I think that's, what you often hear too.
No.
So is it one of those all or nothing things too, where you go into this world, you have to change like your beauty products, like you mentioned, you have to change the makeup that you use, the lotions, perfumes, like, is it like the whole other world that we have to like tap into to get to the benefits of?
It depends on, I always, if people want to go down that road, I'm going to give them tips and tricks to have more of a toxin-free home. And I always say, you can't get it all out. Like clearly I dye my hair, right? Like that's toxic. But I'm going to have natural makeup to compensate for some of the other things I can't control. I'm going to go into a friend's house and they have all these candles, which can be toxic. I can take them out of my own home, but I can't necessarily just go in somewhere and be like, can you put your candle out? So I just try to have people do as best as they can. And it's not an all or nothing. You're not running to the bathroom. We want you to have solid bowel movements, fibrous, solid good bowel movements. So yeah, that's kind of the detox realm and the functional health coaching that I'm, branching into.
Gotcha. So what are some of the signs, right, that someone needs to detox versus just start a diet and eat clean?
Yeah. I would say a really good spot is if you have any symptom. So whether it's chronic fatigue, you have low energy, you can't sleep at night, you have gut issues, you're not having a bowel movement 2 to 3 times a day, you're feeling bloated, hair loss, acne, eczema. I mean, the list really goes on. Everything is about what we put into our body. And it's crazy. Like, I was even a client of yours and we went through a whole cut and I was on a lot of caffeine then because I was doing a lot of morning cardio and I was having, instead of doing energy drinks, I did coffee before my workouts. I did coffee in the afternoon. So I'm kind of in one of my detoxes right now and I completely pulled coffee. I'm sleeping 9 hours a night solid with nothing to help me sleep. And it's just crazy to get back to that and just reset the hormones, reset everything. And it's really good to do before you enter into a cut because cleaning everything out, it's like starting from scratch. We're cleaning out the pipes. We feed you up a little bit, get you to your top caloric intake and then go into a cut, and you're going to have quicker results. You're going to have great results.
Definitely. So speaking of just kind of like starting over and starting at a clean slate, you went through that like in your own personal life. And that's one of the things that I think makes your story so unique and so powerful. So can you share with us like how, and our listeners don't know this, I just know this because like we're friends and everything, but you went through a transition in your life where you had to basically start from scratch with your like financial life. And can you share like what was that process like? Because I feel we sometimes struggle with making decisions about what we should do with the relationships because we're afraid of what's on the other side if we don't have that net.
Yeah. So it kind of, I think the first time I ever said out loud to myself, like, I think I want a divorce was in Bali. I really went through this crazy transformation in Bali and came home plant-based, came home, asked for a divorce a few months later. And I didn't have a plan. Not only did I not have a big plan, but the company that I was part of, that was my main source of income, because at this time, let me rewind a little bit. I was in the corporate world, and my husband at the time said, I was really unhappy. He said, just quit your job, go into fitness and nutrition, do what makes you happy. And so it wasn't that long though. And so I really wasn't able to scale up my business too much, but I was part of a vitamin company that 2 days after I asked for my divorce, it went under. That was not part of my plan. That was my main source of income. So I just kind of went with it. And I was really kind of like a lost puppy then, and grabbing onto different things for security, got into a really bad, ugly, abusive relationship because I was scared to be alone. Thankfully, I didn't have kids, and so I didn't have to worry about that or like communicate with my ex. But got into this relationship and just didn't know what I was doing. Living with some friends, got back into the corporate world, then COVID hit, I get laid off. And that's where, I found God, and I gave my life to the Lord and said, Lord, it's your plan. Like, I can't control this anymore. And I got this opportunity in Southern California. So on a whim, I moved to Southern California. And through this journey with this job that I took here, I meet this gentleman, and he's in the finance industry. And to make a long story a little shorter, it was the stars aligned. And I said, this is what I need. At least if I'm not going to be some big shot financial advisor, I'm going to learn this for myself, because I was left with almost nothing. I didn't take anything from my ex. I just left. And I needed to figure out finances. He was the one that always paid the bills. He was the one that had you find out a lot when you go through divorce about the things you don't have. I'll tell you that. Find out there's no savings account anywhere, all the things. But so I dove into finance, and it really helped me. I started saving. Within 2 months, I paid off all my credit card debt. I got into an IRA and a Roth and just started investing. And now I have the knowledge for it. So I was like, I'm going to do this for myself. And then so I can help other single women, single moms, and families, help them with their finances, because it's such a missing piece. A lot of women, I think, there's a lot of women out there that are stay-at-home moms and just leave the finances to their husbands. I will say one of the things I've learned through this, and through a lot of women who have been through me or talked with me through their divorce, is, and it's an advice my mom gave me too, always know the finances of the household and always have a side hustle. Even if you're a stay-at-home mom, you are running the home, there are so many amazing, honestly, network marketing companies out there, or just little side gigs you could have. Have a little source of income that's yours. Talk about it with your spouse first and see if you can have your own account. And that could be your funds for your nails, for your hair, for whatever it is, for savings, or a savings account for an investment. Not a savings account, an investment. They're very different. So to start investing, and maybe you're putting $50 to $100 away a month, but at least you have that security blanket.
Yeah. And I think that's a big piece of it too, because you do have that security, right? Of feeling like I'm taken care of, I'm tended to, nothing's ever going to happen. So that definitely requires like a mindset shift, if you will, because on the one hand, it's just like I could see some women saying like, oh, well, that's just making it seem like something's bad is going to happen one day, right?
Yeah.
So what's kind of like that mental piece that you work on with your clients to kind of look at it from the lens of, hey, this is actually helping you. This isn't like pretending like something's bad is going to happen down the line, and that's why
I deal with a lot of couples doing their life insurance, and it's not a sexy topic. Investment sexy, life insurance is not. You're talking about death, and a lot of the stay-at-home moms, they're like, well, he works and this and that. I'm like, okay, well, let's look at this. What if he were to get hurt on the job tomorrow? What if he were to pass away tomorrow? Are you set up to be able to pay the bills? To be able to get childcare for your kids, because you might have to go back to work, to whatever it is, to bring in the income to pay the bills, to pay the mortgage, to pay the rent. Like, it's just things that I have to have these hard heart-to-heart conversations. And it's not necessarily even a mindset. It's like reality. It's maybe you're not going to get a divorce, but what if something happens to him? And you're going to be grieving. And you're not going to want to have to think, shoot, I need to go hustle and get a job now. Like, it's something that's a reality that people need to think about. And so many Americans are financially illiterate. It really is sad to say. And I talk to a lot of people, like in the construction space as well. And a lot of union people, they don't get paid time off. They don't get sick leave. If they fall on the job and break their leg, they are not getting paid when they're in recovery. So how are you going to have income coming in? So it's just more of a like real conversation and bringing these light bulbs in, like, oh my gosh, I never thought of it like that. And a lot of the times the men too, they're like, well, if my wife happens to pass away, we don't need any life insurance for her. I'll take care of it. And I'm like, oh, and you're going to clean the house and you're going to take care of the kids and you're going to cook the food. Like, you're going to handle all that. And they're like, oh, never thought about it. Yeah, you probably want a life insurance policy on your wife so that you can pay for daycare, so you can pay for bereavement when you're going to be out of work, so you can pay for a nanny or meal prep or a house cleaner.
All the things that you would need to keep everything going.
Your wife's doing. They don't realize everything that mama's doing at home when you're at work.
Yeah. And I think that's a big one too, because it's a topic that you're right. Like, people don't really tend to talk about often, but we don't shy away from the tough topics here. So with that being said, what do you think someone who might not be in a financial position to even be able to afford like a life insurance policy or afford like investments, right? Because we're all at different points in our lives, and we realize that here. How do you work with those kind of people?
Yeah, we're always hiring if you need a side hustle. Just kidding.
Okay.
But there are a lot of investment firms that you have to have like at least $100,000 to invest. So we only need $50 for you to start investing, which is quite expensive.
Right. Say that again. I think listeners need to really hear that piece. You only need how much?
$50.
50. That's it. That's less than a visit to the nail shop, honestly.
Exactly. It is. Exactly.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, for sure.
$50 a month, and we can start your investments now. The younger, the better. I mean, if you're in your 20s, if you have some listeners in your 20s, oh my gosh, I wish someone told me this when I was in my 20s and in my 30s, because it compounds, and we can teach you that and just give you a financial education. And honestly, Britt, I have a free How Money Works booklet that I'd be more than happy to send you, that if anyone wants this, drop into Britt's DMs or shoot a message on here and she can get that over to you. And it's just advice on kind of what to do for free. It's free financial advice, but get a side hustle too. I mean, there's so many things out there that 2 hours a day, a couple hours a day, where you can be bringing in a little bit of money, even just if that's to go to your investments.
Yeah.
So,
and I think that's one of the biggest things where I think, we all have different backgrounds with financial literacy and just planning for a rainy day. But I have seen people in my life who didn't plan for the rainy day or didn't plan for life over 50 or life over a certain point. and now they're feeling it. So this really is a time to put those things like foundationally, like in place. Like it's not, oh, I'll get to it down the line. Like it's now, like yesterday, right?
And life insurance, I don't know, a lot of people don't know this, is every year you have a birthday, it gets more expensive. So the younger you are, the better it is. And a lot of people think, so like for me, for instance, I don't have kids, but I have a life insurance policy because someday I'm going to have kids, or if I have nieces and nephews, if you have nieces and nephews, maybe you want to leave money too. It's better to get an inexpensive policy now and have it, because it's just going to keep getting way more expensive as you get older. So it's better to get it, sooner than later. And just looking over your budget, getting a financial advisor. We give free financial advice. We can look at what you're doing. It's all free. You don't have to pay us. I can do a presentation that shows you a little bit about how money works. I can send you the document, like I said. If you were to go to like a bank or, there's a lot of financial advisors that charge upward of $1,200 just to meet with them, which is a lot. And a lot of people can't afford it. So what we do is affordable. What else was I going to say? The estate planning is really important as well. So your will, your power of attorney, medical directive, HIPAA authorization, you want to have all that done. We do it for $28. You get 24/7 access to an attorney, helps you get it done. You can use the attorney for business needs. You can use the attorney for whatever else you need. I have a client who owns her own gym franchise. She's like, I use this all the time for $28 a month. I literally talk to this law firm on a monthly basis.
And that's incredible, because those fees, that could be thousands, several thousands, per month. So you really have like a one-stop shop, no matter where our ladies or our listeners are at in their lives, whether they are early 20s just starting out, or they're later in life and they have their business, but they want to kind of have that support, or they want to start planning for the future. Like, you have something to help them. And I think that's what I also really liked about you, because I worked with you in that regard. And it was super helpful for me because, being a business owner, you don't always have these things in place because you're self-employed and you're the one running the show, and you're so focused and fixated on like the here and the now and the money that's right here and the right now, that you're not thinking about the 15 years down the line, or the 20 years down the line, or 30 years down the line. So I think that's so important for all of us to just really start to pay attention to. And you have so many free resources out there. So where can people find those resources? Like, what's like the starting point for everyone?
Yeah. You can message me on Instagram, Maggie Pearson, LBD, and then shoot me a DM, or if they want to reach out to you, I'll send you the document for the financial literacy, the free document, and we can kind of go from there. If you want information to do a detox and have more questions about it, shoot me a DM. I do free consultations to find out your needs. Awesome. And then we send them back over to you to get them fit, get the muscle building and get you fit.
Then we'll do all that. We'll take care of the total thing. So you guys, her information will be down in the description box below. You guys can go check her out for some more. So I know you have a lot going on. So how do you balance self-care in the midst of everything that you do? Because that's something that I feel like we all have a different way of going about it, but it's so important to our just mental health, overall wellness, and just peace of mind.
Yeah, you got to schedule it in, because if it's not scheduled in, it's not going to happen. So for me, it means getting up earlier than I really want, but it means going to bed earlier as well, so I can get in that cardio. It means meal prepping. Sometimes my schedule changes on a fly. Like we know today, my schedule changed. So I have to have stuff prepped in the fridge. A lot of the clients I work with, they get overwhelmed looking at a meal plan, and I'm like, you have to plan on Sunday to prep, but also putting yourself first. And I know it's hard. My two best friends have kids and husbands and chaos. And it's like, if you really want it, you guys have to pencil it in. It has to be your time, and you're going to serve your family, and you're going to show up better in life. You're going to show up as a better wife, as a better mom, as a better employee. And I schedule it in. So I get up earlier to do my cardio, and I plan my meals and I work out and I lift in the afternoon before I do client calls. My client calls come around my gym time and around my meal prep.
Mm-hmm. And I love that because what you schedule happens. So if we treat ourselves just with the same level of priority like we do our doctor's appointments, or making sure, kids get to karate practice, or making sure that, mom gets to her doctor's appointment, then we won't be at the bottom of our to-do list. And I think also what happens is, as you kind of mentioned with your girlfriends, there can be this notion that it's selfish to do that. So how do you help your clients and even yourself let go of the feeling like, oh, it's selfish for me to take this time because my boyfriend really, wants to hang out tonight, but I got to get to bed early so I can get this cardio done in the morning. I can get this and get that. So how do you deal with that part of it?
I think saying, just kind of as I said, is prioritizing yourself. You're just going to show up better, and it's going to give you more energy for the day. It's going to set you up for success. And when people come to me and say, I don't have time, I'm like, well, you're just not making the time for it. I'm a little bit of a tough love, Brittany. I'm like, I give it real. It's hard for me to empathize. Oh my gosh, I can't say that, empathize with it. But, we all have 24 hours in a day. And I understand that time can get away from us, but going to bed 30 minutes sooner and waking up 30 minutes earlier, if it means just going for a walk in the morning and doing your meditation or prayer or journaling, whatever it might be, it's just going to set you up for success throughout the day. And after you stick with it, give it 2 weeks, you're going to love it. You're going to love how you feel. You're going to love the energy you have, the clarity that you have. And the lack of overwhelm, prepping your meals on a Saturday or Sunday, and make it fun. Involve the family, do it with your spouse or your boyfriend or the kids. Teach them, hey, we're going to go to the grocery store together. Guess what you get to do? You get to pick out a new fruit today, a fruit that you haven't had before, one that looks really cool and bright. You get to pick it out. We're going to try that. Make it something.
I love that.
Do smoothies together. Kids love smoothies. I did learn, though, I did it with my niece. Don't do a green smoothie to start it off. It needs to be bright and red and yummy. They look at those green smoothies and they're like, ew.
Look like poop. Yeah, they don't want to drink it. So yeah, I wouldn't want to drink some green smoothie. So I understand. Okay.
So they doing it. Just involve everyone. Make it a thing. I mean, my boyfriend and I, we cook on Saturdays. We meal prep together. We put music on, have a glass of wine or something, and just make it something that you do. It becomes your lifestyle a little bit.
I love that. And then also too, I feel like it can help pull other people into something that you love to do as well, because we're in this lifestyle of taking care of ourselves and living a certain way and eating a certain way. And I know some of my clients struggle with when they're dating people who aren't that way. They're like, okay, well, how do I bridge this gap? I feel like it's like two people trying to butt heads, but I love that idea of kind of making it seem like a meal prep date night, like a night in where you're cooking together, kind of making it so they feel involved. And it's not like, okay, I'm over here and you're over there doing that thing.
Yeah. And I have a lot of clients on my detox. They're like, man, I just don't want to be cooking something different for myself and different from my family. And I'm like, you don't have to. Let me give you some ideas. Let's brainstorm together. But then it's the question I ask them, do you want your family eating these toxic, not good meals as well? Or do you want your family being healthy as well? And the light bulb kind of goes off. And I'm like, let's figure out how to kind of mesh it together and go easy with it. Not all of a sudden you're eating pizza and then you're eating spinach. I mean, we're not going to go that route. But let's you're having steak for dinner. Awesome. Well, let's put it on a salad tonight. Let's make a really big salad and do a big steak salad with it tonight. You know what I mean? So we just kind of mesh it in and go slow with it.
Yeah. And I love that idea and that approach because it makes it a lot more consumable for people, right? So they don't feel like they have to kind of flip this switch and then boom, their old life is over and they're only eating fruit, veggies, and lean meats the rest of their lives. You know what I mean? That's just not really realistic. And then people have to also enjoy the process too.
Exactly. And my program too, I like to tell people it's different. I'll tell them it's very different from any meal plan you've done before. It's not black and white. It's very gray. And if you have a birthday coming up and you want to go have a glass of wine and a piece of cake, have the glass of wine and a piece of cake, because we're really working on your rest and digest in a detox. Whereas a lot of the times in our life, we're more in that fight or flight. So when we're in our sympathetic, and now we're trying to get into our parasympathetic, we're relaxing our body, we're working out less, we're doing more yoga, and stressing about like cheating or whatever. We don't want that. It's going to raise our cortisol levels. It's going to cause inflammation. So we're really focusing on resting. It's very different than, you know, a meal plan that a lot of people have done before.
Yeah. And that sounds like it's so much less pressure because you're embracing this idea of really just resting into your body and relaxing into this, as opposed to trying to force your body into doing this. So I absolutely love that approach. If you guys have questions about this, please comment down below. We will make sure to get these in front of her so that way she can answer any and all of them. So tell us before we get off, what are 3 things that you want to do differently in the next year? Because you seem to like have a lot of your stuff together, and we're kind of, I mean, financially, health, you know, wellness and everything. And right now we're like at the end of, towards the end of 2024. So like, what are some of like those big things for you next year? Or like the focus areas for you next year?
I would say, you know, I actually, surprise, I still rent. And so I think settling into a home, I just haven't found that space where I really want to buy. So I think finding a house to call a home and just really settling in, if I can do that. And then part of me is like, can I really just like settle? I like traveling and being all over, but I think settling in. Another one would be spending more times outdoors. I am in Southern California right now. I'm inland. And it gets really hot here. I didn't realize we'd get into the upwards of like 103, 105, but I just love the outdoors. I love the beach. I love the mountains. And I just didn't do enough of it this year. So getting into that. And then I would say the other one for me is really focusing on the rest and digest and just lowering my cortisol and doing more yoga and just getting the stress away. And I've really been doing that this past month. I've been focusing on it, and I just would love to carry that into the new year.
Yes. I'm gonna latch on to that last one, the rest and digest. Is that what you said? Yeah. I'm gonna hold on to that one because I feel like I need to have some of that namaste in my life too. So if you guys do too, then those are some things that we can all kind of focus on. So Maggie, tell us, where can we find, I know you told us a little bit earlier, but you are across all social media under the same handle, right? All right.
Yep. Yeah, I think my Facebook page is a little bit different, but you can find me just by searching Maggie Pearson, LBD. Yeah, LBD stands for Life by Design, so LBD. Yeah.
Oh, nice. I did not know that until just now. I was curious what that was. Okay, so you guys, you heard it here first. You can find her, Maggie Pearson, LBD. You're most active on Instagram, right? Is that your platform of choice where people can reach out? Okay. All right. You guys can go follow her. We're going to tag her on everything. So thank you so much for joining us today. We so appreciate our chat. I know I got a lot from this conversation, so our listeners out there too. So you guys, thank you for joining us for another episode from the FemFit Chicks. Don't forget to take a little minute to like and subscribe while you are here. And we will see you guys all in the next one. Talk to you later. Peace.